Hi, I'm Alex Paulton. I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Talking Timepieces, and this is a little special quickie for New Year's, and I just wanted to look back on the year that was and look forward a little bit to the year that is to come. And it's important to remember that this isn't only the end of 2020, it's the end of the second decade of the 21st century. So 2020 is the end of this decade, and 2021, tomorrow, is the first year of the next decade, the third decade of the 21st century. So in that sense, it's kind of cool that we're not just shedding last year, but we're also shedding the last decade. So timekeeping is important, right? So let's talk about watches and watch collecting and where things have come. In the past year, I've literally bought and sold about 10 watches in each direction. Sold my Oyster Quartz. I sold a couple of other pieces. I sold my Junkers. I sold a bunch of pieces because I'm trying to consolidate and I wouldn't say cleanse, because every single watch I got rid of is a fantastic piece. But I'm trying to refine my collection because I'm sitting somewhere between Brian Williams and his friend with the 300 watches. I want to have more than 3, but I wouldn't mind less than 10. And the trouble is that, you know, they talk to me, to paraphrase the little kid from Tank Girl, like, here's the Accutron, right? It's only worth about $800 only, I say, but you know that's a responsible amount of money, but I wouldn't sell it. It's not worth selling. Number one, I'd gift it if that were the case, because why lose $100 on an $800 watch? But I would want to keep it in the family because it's actually a true collectible watch, as opposed to, you know, a made-up collectible. Oh yeah, you got to get this one because it's blue. The Accutron is a true collectible because of its movement and its place in history, which is the same could be said for the Swatch System 51. You know, the only 51 moving parts, first automatic watch assembled completely by machine. This is a historic piece, and anybody who's got a System 51 should hold on to it. On the other end of the spectrum, you've got watches like, for example, Jaeger-LeCoultre came out with the Polaris. I'm actually selling this one because it irritates me a little that it's really easy to move. It's beautiful. It has a lovely feel. It's incredibly well made, but if you bump into something with it, it should have been a locking crown. So I'm going to sell it, and if you want a discount, it's on Chrono24. Ping me and I'll give you a discount. Other notable additions, I'm really pleased with this Mont Blanc Geosphere. I just did a piece on it. It's such a nice watch. And the review on the Seiko Kinetic, not Kinetic, the Spring Drive. Kinetic was the interim technology of theirs. Well, actually, they still sell Kinetic, but Spring Drive, I'm going to do a complete review, and well, my kind of review. I'm going to look into it and talk about it and point out some of the interesting aspects of the core technology, and yeah, just trying to move the collection along, trying to have some fun with it. Like one of my most recent additions, on the one hand, I dropped no small penny on that Mont Blanc Geosphere, and on the other side of the spectrum, I'm really happy I picked up this Vostok Amphibia GMT, $150 worth of really fun watch. And I did a little unboxing video on this, but I'm going to do a much deeper piece on this as well. But see, this watch is like a living example of just fun watch collecting. It's not about the money. It's about having a cool piece. And what I really love about this piece, it's a cool Batman design that doesn't even remotely look like a Rolex. Ping. So, looking forward, I realize this has turned out to be a little bit longer than I expected, but looking forward, I wanted to point out something in the tech space. There is a technology that is going to be superseding quartz within the next few years, and this has been going on in a lot of spaces. For example, I don't know how much you all know about power electronics, but there are new semiconductors. I was about to say Halbleiter because I live here in Germany, and that's the word for semiconductor. But there are new semiconductors out there, gallium nitride and silicon carbide, which are significantly, like 3 times the energy, mobility, electron, physics thingy that goes on within semiconductors. But these wide bandgap devices can switch faster, run hotter, and they're literally changing the face of technology. That's why all of these newer EVs and all of these newer inverter plants at solar facilities are all running better because they've already started to integrate this technology. But on the timekeeping side, there's a technology that I wanted to point out, and it's called MEMS oscillators. And this company is called SciTime. And what they're doing now is these are silicon oscillators. Instead of using a quartz oscillator, they're making little silicon beams on a silicon chip that they're stimulating to vibrate so that they can get a resonance, but that's at the chip scale. And because it's a silicon technology already integrated at the chip scale, it's easier to integrate into the system because, for example, one of the things about the Oyster quartz or any quartz, good quartz watches, it has to have temperature compensation. The way they do it at the serious side, like real hardcore stuff like military, they actually heat the quartz crystal so that they know what the reference is at all times because they heat it above ambient so that it wouldn't be affected by outside temperatures, so they always know what it's doing. And that's called a thermally compensated oscillator. But the oscillators that are used in watches are relatively cheap, and this silicon technology is getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. On the other tech side, they've used quantum entanglement to make a better atomic clock, which is now the most efficient and effective and accurate atomic clock there is. So it's really interesting to see where timing is going in this industry. And if you look at my video about why timing and knowing what time it is important, you'll know that the entire backbone of GPS is built on proper timing, and the entire backbone of the Internet of Things and communications within the Internet of Things and cloud computing and edge computing, it's all based on timing. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the new year as well. And I'm going to launch a membership drive in the new year. Since we're getting serious, I've invested in lights and one of those cutesy microphone thingies and getting all kinds of cool video stuff so that I can make a better product for you all, and even commissioning a little opening video for the segment to use for talking timepieces. So send me your ideas, what you'd like me to talk about, and we'll talk about them, because it's all about why we collect, the passions behind it, our philosophies. Give me some of yours and we'll talk about them. And, mine aren't holy. Everybody's got an opinion. Let's expose them all, and let's have some fun with watch collecting. So let's look forward to the new year. In the new year, I will be giving away a copy of my book, Cyberchild. I should have ran and gotten a copy. But it's too late now. I've gone too far into this video to reshoot at this point. But in the new year, I will be giving away a copy of my novel, Cyberchild. It's on Amazon. You can look at it. It's got 4+ stars on Goodreads. Analog Magazine reviewed it and said the plot's fantastic and the characterization, which for hard science fiction, I'm like, I'll take that hit. So, Happy New Year. Thank you all for all of your wonderful support. And let's talk about watches.